Suddenly, people clapped. It's a haze now, but that may have been the best experience of my life up to that point. I started talking to Steve, and we skated the pipe for a while, and then, by some new social permission, I was given access to walk around with him and his friends. We found a drum set in the youth hall, and again, what luck, I had been practicing. And then we played hacky sack. Now, never mind if you know nothing of the late 90s culture of skateboards or drums and hacky sack. Not many of my contemporaries did either, which is why finding others who were interested meant so much to me. I thought I was the only one. This series of moments was for me what C.S. Lewis famously describes as the beginning of friendship. He calls it the "you too" moment. I'll read his quote at length. Friendship arises when two companions discover that they have in common some insight or interest or even taste, which, until that moment, they believed to be their own unique treasure or burden. The typical expression of opening friendship would be something like, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." It is when two such persons discover one another, when, whether with immense difficulties and semi-articulate fumblings, they share their vision, it is then that friendship is born, and instantly they stand together in an immense solitude. Semi-articulate fumblings is such a delightful phrase that perfectly captures the beginning of so many friendships, especially mine. So let me get back to that conversation that changed the rest of my life. Standing at the locker, a few weeks after that youth retreat, one of us said, "Should we be best friends?" Yes, it was that awkward. I still can't remember who asked the question. It was probably Steve, because he's been comfortable saying whatever came to his mind for his whole life. But the question was asked, and as if it were just a decision about where to go for lunch, both of us agreed that it was a good idea. We would be best friends. That's it. End of memory. It was a conversation remarkable only for its weirdness and unmemorable for anyone but us. And that's what the beginning of friendship usually looks like. Two people fumbling to find something that they deeply long for, can't quite name, and even if they could, would probably be too embarrassed to ask for. Picture two boys messing around with a pack of matches. Now picture their faces when one of them successfully pops a spark and a fire begins to grow. The childish amazement, the joy, the surprise all at once. That was us. We were fumbling around with some words, but we had no idea of their power or the fire that would follow. As it turns out, words change things. We made a pact of friendship, and soon we found the immense solitude that Lewis wrote of. Our lives would never be the same. And ever since, I've had the uncanny feeling that I was made for friendship. Created for people. I often think about the beginning of the world. You might think that's a bit strange, but I think you should try it. It goes like this. One day, God is being quintessential God, making things from nothing, and he's doing it alongside his covenant friends, the Son and the Holy Spirit. Now, to imagine it right, you've got to see that they all think this whole creation thing is a spectacularly grand idea. It won't be without hiccups, they know, but they are providentially confident it will turn out to be a smashing success. So picture it all for a moment. What it looks like for light to separate from darkness for the first time. The crash of an unfathomably large number of cubic gallons of water sloshing against the seabed. I wonder whether God the Son gets down on his knees and traces the shoreline carefully, the way a child concentrates on a drawing, while God the Father just watches happily from behind the galaxy. Or whether both just laughed as the Holy Spirit splashed cosmic buckets of salt water on the earth to see where it falls, maybe the way visual artist Makoto Fujimura seems to combine accident and purpose while flicking paint over a canvas to see the direction it runs. I could go on, and I'd encourage you to do the same thing. Think about what it sounds like to hear "good" ring out the first time.